ಹತ್ತನೇ ತರಗತಿ ವಿದ್ಯಾರ್ಥಿಗಳಿಗೆ ಎಜು ಆಲ್ರೌಂಡರ್ ಚಾನಲ್ಗೆ ಸ್ವಾಗತ. ಈಗ ನಿಮ್ಮ ಪರೀಕ್ಷೆಗೆ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ಯಾವ ಪಾಠದಿಂದ ಬರ್ತವೆ ಅಂತ ನೋಡೋಣ. ಇವಷ್ಟು ಪ್ರಿಪೇರ್ ಆದರೆ ಸಾಕು, ನಿಮ್ಮ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ನ 7 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಟೋಟಲ್ 14 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ನೀವು ಹೇಗೆ ಪಡೆಯಬಹುದು ಅನ್ನೋದನ್ನು ನಾನೀಗ ಹೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೀನಿ. ಮೊದಲಿಗೆ ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ BR ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಪಾಠದಿಂದ 2 ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಈ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆಗಳನ್ನು ನೋಡ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಿ. ವಾಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ದ ಗ್ರೇಟೆಸ್ಟ್ ಟ್ರೇಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ಎಸ್ ಎ ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್, ಆರ್ ಹೌ ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಯು ಸೇ ದಟ್ ಅಂಬೇಡ್ಕರ್ ವಾಸ್ ಎ voracious reader? Ambedkar was a voracious reader. He had insatiable thirst for books. He bought books by curtailing his daily needs. In New York, he purchased about 2,000 old books. While he was in London, he bought many books. Why did Nehru choose Ambedkar as the law minister? Dr. Ambedkar had a great skill in the field of law and legislation. He had the vision of social justice. Above all, he had succeeded in his own campaigns against social injustice. How did Dr. Ambedkar and Mahatma Gandhi try to wipe out caste discrimination from India? Gandhiji reminded the higher caste of their duty towards the depressed classes. Ambedkar did the same by reminding the depressed classes of their right to equality with the higher caste. Gandhiji stressed the duties and Ambedkar stressed the rights. They brought revolution in social thought. ನೋಡಿ, September 20 ಕೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. There were great luminaries in the drafting committees. Dr. Ambedkar is remembered as the pilot give reasons. Ambedkar was tactful, frank, and had utmost patience. He explained clearly the meaning and scope of the different provisions of the draft constitution. He explained it in such a way that even a layman could understand it. How did the 14th Amendment of US Constitution influence Ambedkar? The 14th Amendment of US Constitution gave freedom to the black Americans. Ambedkar saw at once the parallel of the situation for the depressed class in India. What made Ambedkar describe the method of civil disobedience, non-cooperation and satyagraha as the grammar of anarchy? These methods could be utilized in a struggle against the foreign rule. In democracy, such agitations may result in the loss of lives and public property. What is the difference between Gandhiji and Ambedkar in their approach to solving the problem? Gandhiji advocated satyagraha and non-violence. Ambedkar advocated the importance of constitutional methods or means to solve the problems. Dr. Ambedkar worked for the upliftment of the depressed classes. Explain or how did Dr. Ambedkar try to get social justice for the depressed classes? Dr. BR Ambedkar devoted all his time and talents for the betterment of the depressed classes. He started newspapers, Mukanayaka, Bahishkrita Bharata and Samata. He set up institutions, Hitakarni Sabha and Independent Labour Party of India. He stressed the rights of the depressed classes. He helped in rousing up who had suffered for long in the past. He fought for social justice. ನೋಡಿ, ಇಷ್ಟೊಂದು ವಿಷಯವನ್ನು ನೀವು ತಿಳಿದುಕೊಂಡ್ರೆ ನಿಮಗೆ ಈ ಪಾಠದಿಂದ ಬರುವಂಥ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ನ 2 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗಳಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಮಾಡಲಿಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗ್ತದೆ. How can you say that Anant was a talented boy, or why do you consider Anant a talented boy? Anant was the best table tennis player in the school. He was the fastest runner. He was learning to play sitar. He was already able to compose his own tunes. They had come with high hopes. What hopes did Anant's parents have? Due to the miracles of modern science, Anant would be cured at the hospital. He would again walk and run. He would play the sitar and perhaps would be a great sitarist one day ಅಂತ ಅವರು ಅಂದ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ರು. How did Smita fulfill her brother's wish? Or suddenly a daring thought came to Smita. What was the thought? Or why do you think Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka agreed to play for Anant? Or how did Smita try to bring Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka to her house? Smita planned to request Pandit Ravi Shankar to play for her brother. After this concert, Smita went up to the stage and approached Pandit Ravi Shankar. She explained the condition and the wish of the brother. They were touched by her brother's story. They came to her house and played for him. What makes the readers appreciate Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka, or the artist visiting Anant was unusual, justify? Or why do you think the response of the artist was unusual? Pandit Ravi Shankar and Ustad Allah Raka was great maestros. They were busy people. Despite their busy schedule, they accepted Smita's invitation. They visited Anant's home and played for him. What was the intention of Smita's going to the concert? Smita's intention was to listen to the sitar by Pandit Ravi Shankar, then to request him to come to her house and play for her brother Anant. She wanted to fulfill her brother's last wish. How did Anand's family treat him without voicing their fears? They laughed and smiled and talked and surrounded Anand with whatever made him happy. They fulfilled his every need and gave whatever he asked for. How did Smita enjoy the concert? As Pandit played the first note, Smita, filled with wonder, spellbound, she listened to a variety of ragas. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಕನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ ಪಾಠದಿಂದ 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಗೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ 2 ಕನ್ಸರ್ಟ್ದಿಂದ 2 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಬರ್ತವೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ 2 ದಿಂದ 1 ಕ್ವಶನ್. ನೋಡಿ ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ 2 ಇಂದ ಬರುವಂಥ ಪ್ರಶ್ನೆ, what qualities of the jazz player do you appreciate? The jazz player is a simple man. He is a pathetic figure, but at the same time a commanding artist. He has the power in him to make people listen. He is silent in speech but eloquent in music. How has the poet described the facial expression of the jazz player, or how is the physical appearance of the jazz player described? The jazz player's face is wrinkled. He has a rough, unshaven face. He looks tired. He has a sagging stomach. Why do you think the jazz player keeps his head down? The jazz player is an old man. He is wearies of living. What message does the jazz musician want to convey? He is a black man that he has sent here to preach the black gospel of jazz. ನೋಡಿ ಇದು ಜಾರ್ಜ್ ಪೋಯಮ್ 2 ದಿಂದ ಬರುವಂಥ 1 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್. ಇದರಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದಾದ್ರೂ ಕೇಳ್ತಾರೆ. ಇನ್ನು ಸಪ್ಲಿಮೆಂಟರಿ ರೀಡಿಂಗ್ನಲ್ಲಿ 2 ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ಗಳು ಬರ್ತವೆ, 2 ಮಾರ್ಕ್ಸ್ ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸು. ನೋಡಿ ನಾರಾಯಣ್ಪುರ್ ಇನ್ಸಿಡೆಂಟ್, why are the students been marching? How was it unusual march, or why were the student marching in the street? Why was it termed uncommon? The students were marching to serve a notice to the collector for the British to quit India. They marched as if the police didn't exist. They walked in complete silence. There were no slogans, no shouts. Babu and Manju were a bit disappointed with the way students were marching. What was the reason? Babu and Manju expected a lot of slogan, shouting and violence, but the march was ended peacefully. What was there in the mysterious parcel? What suspicion did the police have about that? There was a cyclostyle machine in the mysterious parcel. The police suspected that Mohan and his family were making copies of Mahatma's speech. Why had Patil, the sub-inspector, come to Mohan's house? Who believed him? What was the result? Patil, the sub-inspector, come to Mohan's house to give a warning about the raid on their house. Mohan's mother believed him. A raid from police was avoided. What had the police expected above the way of protest? How did the students' leader manage the protest? The police expected the students to shout slogans and cause violence. This would make the police to arrest and kept them in prison, but the students' leaders did not want to be arrested, so they marched back silently. Today on top of the world, when did Dicky Dolma climb Mount Everest? How does she describe this achievement? Dicky Dolma climbed the Mount Everest on May 10, 1993. She said that only an Everester would understand can't be described in words. It was much more breathtaking than she could ever imagine. What makes you think Dicky Dolma's life as a girl was sorrowful? Dicky Dolma lost her mother when she was 11. She lost her elder brother too. How has Dolma described her preparedness for the task of scaling Mount Everest? Dolma got training in the Mountaineering Institute at Manali. Her determination and hard work helped her to secure A grades. He believed that the success always follow dedication, determination and hard work. She used to practice 4 hours every day. What can we learn from Dolma's life? Whenever hurdles come, we must face them boldly. Dolma's determination and hard work, zeal for the work is emulating. A great martyr ever cherished. The writer speaks of the smile what welcomes anyone who enters Hanif's house. What more do you know about this smile? Hanif was a soldier. He participated in the Kargil war in 1999. He sacrificed his life for the sake of the country. What did Hanif choose as his mission? Hanif joined the Indian Army as a soldier because he knew that life for him was short. He wanted to serve the nation. How does the writer describe the introvert Hanif? Hanif began to make friends at the 14th year of age. He would often go out of his way to help people. It gave him a certain kind of joy. Hanif was a young man with varied talents and interests. Illustrate the statement drawing support from the text. Or Hanifuddin, a great martyr, was a talented young man described. How was Hanif able to keep himself cheerful throughout? How was life for Hanif? Always ekdam bindas. Hanif was a young soldier. He gave up his life at the age of 25. He dabbled in art, sketched very well. He made beautiful cards out of waste material. He read books. He loved playing drums. The absence of the mother from home taught the children something. What was that? Or how did Hema Aziz teach her children the message that one's duty is the most important thing in life? Hanif's mother Hema Aziz, who had a touring job, the absence of mother from home taught Hanif and his brothers to do work there independently. They got up early on their own and got ready to school. They learned that one's duty is very important to come up in life. The bird of